All right. So I just want to mention one thing here before we get started about Dad Decorah. This was pretty much a monumental year for us at RRP. Lots of things were happening before even Dad Decorah's disappearance. And, you know, just some of the things here. It's been amazing since I took over as director of Raptor Resource Project in 2015. I got to learn, you know, being part of that, what all goes into that. And there used to be a banding program which was managed half by Bob Anderson and half by Amy Reese. And you know, when Bob was gone, it's like that all kind of went over into Amy's bucket. And you know, managing the website, we had a huge challenge here this year where we were moving from Ustream, a known, a given, to losing that and having to develop an educational chat and do things like that that we had never done before. Everybody was concerned about that, but we knew we needed to do it. We needed to move forward. You know, just the whole thing from the start, engineering YouTube and the chats and watching over and managing those groups, just the challenge that is. And then also, our website has really, if you took a look at what our website for Raptor Resource Project used to be around 2015, 2014, and look at it now, it is unbelievable what's been done. So anyway, I wanted to just give a gift of the human equivalent of Mom Decorah, Super Mom, Super Amy. So anyway, thanks so much, Amy. And thanks to Ken, and thanks to Susan. You know, I know we work really hard and lots of long hours and everything. You know we love what we do, but you guys are our support people. So thanks to you too also. So I want to introduce somebody that's going to help talk about how this all got started. Neil Rettig is here, one of our board members. I think you're our only board member here, right? Dave Kester will be coming tonight, and also Brett Mandernack. I just want to talk a little bit quick about the difference that conservation and conservation leaders make. I remember back to the days when I was working and we had this family land, and we had peregrine falcons come, and Bob Anderson approached my dad and said, I'd like to put a nest box up there. You guys historically had peregrine falcons there way back when Dan Berger, a student of Fran Hammerstrom's, who was a student of Aldo Leopold, you know, there used to be peregrine falcons here. Would you like to be a part of that? Can we put a nest box there? And my dad was like, yes, yes. But anyway, I remember coming to an annual banding event one year, and Neil was filming for Raptor for us, one of the first nature production, I think it's second maybe, or maybe there were more, but the one that I first saw, and it really captured me. Growing up in the country and growing up in the beautiful bluffs of the Mississippi River Valley, it was just like, what can I do to connect myself with this group of people? I would just love to do this in my lifetime. And I got the opportunity. And I just, that kind of making those opportunities for people that can jump in and do that and help engage people and show people and teach them about nature, that's all what Neil is about. And that's what Bob was about. So without saying too much more here, I'd like Neil Rettig to come up and talk a little bit about how things got started.
That was incredible. And I tell you what, Bob would be so proud of what you and Amy. Thank you. It is hard to believe how far this organization has gone. And what I've just seen tonight, or today, with those images of the eagles trying to keep the eggs and the chicks warm in the snowstorms was incredibly moving. Incredibly moving. Some of the most amazing shots I've ever seen. the technology that John and Amy have brought to this whole project is absolutely stunning. And I just wanted to say one thing about those kestrels at our farm. They've actually been nesting there for 29 years, different generations, but 29 years. For 29 years, I've been thinking about doing something with them, and finally we're doing it, and it's paying off. So I think Bob would be super proud. I know he would be. I have no doubt at all. This whole educational value is absolutely amazing. When I was a younger man back in the day, I don't know what back in the day means, but when I wanted to make observations of eagles, I would have to take a notebook, climb to the top of a tree, and sit in a blind and physically take notes. And that's only my eyes that are watching and recording and making judgments on what's happening. Now we have this mass ability of so many people to watch and be educated intimately what's going on with these raptor nests. Is absolutely amazing and a wonderful situation. I'll tell you a little bit about how we got started with making the film American Eagle, and how I collaborated with Bob, and we first started the Nest Cam in Decorah. I don't know if any of you have seen the film that I worked on called Mississippi Tales of the Last River Rat with Kenny Selway. The film was actually aired in 2004. The film actually won an Emmy Award, and after the Emmy Award celebration in New York City, my wife and I were kind of standing holding the Emmy itself, and Fred Kaufman, who was the head of PBS Nature, said to me after a couple of beers, "Hey, I'm in the commissioning mood tonight. What do you want to do, Neil?" And I said, "Oh, how about a film on peregrine falcons?" And he goes, "Nah, we don't want to do peregrine falcons." And I said, "How about American eagle, bald eagles?" And he goes, "Let's do it." It was that simple. But I guess I had the portfolio. I mean, I'm standing there with an Emmy, and we're all dressed up in tuxedos. So immediately then after that, we started filming on the Mississippi in the backwaters, a place called Red Oak Road, and other places around Wisconsin and Iowa. And then I got together with Bob, and Bob said to me, "You won't believe this, but there's an eagle nest in somebody's yard in Decorah." And I said, "No way." So he goes, "Let's go over there, I'll show you." So he drives me over, and it turns out this is the nest in Willer's backyard. And I couldn't believe it, because back then, I mean, it's just been an increase every year in eagles. And in 2007, you didn't see that many eagle nest sites that are away from water. Now you see them in the middle of cornfields, you see them in people's backyards occasionally, like Willard's. And so Bob and I immediately started to work on trying to secure permission from Willard and the Lees, which owned the house up behind the original nest that's got the white barn. And we actually made a blind inside that barn, and we started filming for American Eagle. And that's when we got to know Dad Decorah. Now, he probably is we know he's at least over 15 years old. I don't know how many years old he was when we started filming in 2007. But his mate was a one-eyed female, and she disappeared. And it didn't take long for another female to come in, and that's Decorah, today's Decorah mom. So we began, we went up to the blind every day in the barn, but Bob wanted to take it one step further. And he got together with Amy and myself, and we started to go up and figure out ways to install these nest cams. And Bob was so excited about it. He'd be up there, and he always was a little bit apprehensive in this tree, because it seemed like every time we went up there was on a windy day, and it was like climbing onto the mast of a big ship at sea, and you'd almost get seasick with the tree going back and forth. And I remember Bob always had his hands clutching the branches.
See that behind you? That's a picture behind you, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And in the film, we have a little segment where he's talking about how you got to get your tree legs instead of your sea legs when you're up in this big tree. So we continued filming, and we ended up producing the film American Eagle, which I think a lot of you have seen, and I think Bob was very proud of that film. And we went on to film many other projects involving raptors. I just want to say one other thing about Bob, though. During this time period and a little bit before, Bob hung around with me on a bunch of very strange expeditions. We went to Dubai to film Peregrine Falcons. We went down to the Amazon and did some work with harpies. But I think my most favorite stories of when Bob and I were filming grizzly bears up in Katmai. And we went to Brooks Lodge when all of the tourists leave and the wardens are all gone, and they have to board up the cabins, and the bears kind of take over the actual lodge area. And Bob, one morning, I was in another tent protected by kind of a wooden shed, and Bob was in a little pup tent alone. And over the top of the tent was a bull moose with its big wattles dragging on top of the tent. All night there were grizzly bears rubbing the side of Bob's tent, and he said he didn't sleep a wink and was clutching a can of pepper spray on his chest all night. So anyway, that's the story of how it kind of began with Dad Decorah, and it's a tragic thing, but it's just part of the wonder too of the nest cams and the world that they allow all of us to the window into the world that they allow all of us to look through. Back in the day when I was up taking notes, like I said, it was only me watching this. Now the entire world has the opportunity to learn from this wonderful work that RRP is doing. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
And so we'll take a little look at the subject there that's up on the screen, Dad Decorah. Got a few selected videos that thank you so much to the videographers out there, and when we work up some of this film footage from the presentation here, we'll give proper credit and post some of this stuff, I believe, on our website so people can watch, and just some of the beautiful video tributes that have been put together. But I think the first one that I wanted to show you guys is, let's see here.